When I'm traveling the backcountry of the Southwest, studying ancestral sites of the Native Americans, the animal that I see by far and away the most in nature is the crow. The crows are everywhere, and I think they're really wonderful, and they're cheerful, and they seem intelligent, and they seem to interact with you. So I thought that the crow tarot deck would be a really interesting way to do some Native American inspired theme tarot card readings. We'll start this day with some words by Chased by Bears of the Santee Yanktonai Sioux. When a man does a piece of work which is admired by all, we say that it is wonderful. But when we see the changes of day and night, the sun, the moon, and the stars in the sky, and the changing seasons upon the earth with their ripening fruits, anyone must realize that it is the work of someone more powerful than man. We'll get some cards, 3 cards to expound upon the idea of seeing our work from the larger perspective of how it fits into a greater scheme that's more powerful than us. The 7 of Swords, the 3 of Swords, and the Knight of Pentacles. What you're not seeing is that somebody in your environment is trying to get away with more than their fair share, or they're trying to get away with some kind of trickery. This crow has stolen away with 5 of the swords, but 5 was too much for him to carry, so a few fell down. These guys are only left with the 2 swords, but they're also seeing him fail because he tried to get away with too much. He would have been able to carry 1 sword. He would have even been able to carry 3 swords, but he's been observed trying to take 5 swords, and he was unable to handle it. So this person, the situation that you're in, or it could even be you, are trying to get away with something or carry out plans that are ill-fated. And it's tricky, and it's akin to stealing. It's trying to get away with something. So you are trying to carry out plans that are destined to fail because they aren't based on integrity, or somebody or something in your environment is, trying to pull one over on you, trying to get away with more than they deserve. What you need is to face the heartbreak of this. What you need is to see your hope of a happy outcome in that situation fly away. Look at these 2 birds. In this situation, this one is seeing this one who appears larger. He's the protagonist of the situation. He's trying to get away. This one is small and powerless and observing this one go, and probably feeling a little bit disappointed that his friend didn't turn out what he thought he was. In this situation, this bird who is watching is the protagonist. He's the one sitting and watching the partner, the friend, fly away, leave. So these are the same message from different perspective in the art, as goes the artwork. So in this situation, the heartbroken one is sitting on the swords, understanding that he has been left with the swords in his heart. He's understanding the situation. Swords are actually about ideas, thoughts, words, but the fact that it's in a heart, this picture's undeniable about what's happening. There's some kind of heartbreak in the situation, and the card advises you, since it's what you need, the card advises you to accept your situation and realize that if you didn't know what this felt like, you couldn't know what joy felt like. If you didn't know what joy felt like, you wouldn't know this wasn't joy. If you'd always been in abusive situations like this, and this was always the result, you may be looking upon this person as somebody who loves you, and that's simply how they always behave. And you would sit upon this Three of Swords and watch this guy go and think, well, he'll be back soon to do this to me again, and I'll feel like this again, and this is what love looks like. But if you understand the difference between how this feels and how true fulfillment and happiness and love should feel, then you'll be able to watch this person fly away, watch that situation fly away, and feel relieved and know how to avoid that situation in the future. Keep your intuition going and keep your intuition on point. Pay attention to the signs and learn from experiences like this, and understand and have gratitude for this feeling of heartbreak, because it's teaching you what you need to watch out for in the future. This is something you don't see. Next time, look for it, see it, notice the signs, and you'll be able to get a different outcome next time. Your future action should be take practical steps. The Knight of Pentacles has been inspired to take motion and put together a solid plan, but he isn't moving very quickly. He's sitting there holding his pentacle. He's sitting on this horse that isn't moving, but the horse is strong and the environment is clear and movement forward can be taken. The weather is good. It's an auspicious beginning or movement forward, but it's methodical. This probably evolved out of, let's say it happened in love. Maybe there was a love bombing. Somebody came at you fast and hard with a lot of exciting love messages, and you were dazzled by them, and you trusted them before you really knew who they were, and then they stole your car. In a work situation, maybe you started a new job and you were promised all these things, and you promised a quick promotion within 3 months, at which time you would also get your health insurance and you would be given a raise. And then 3 months time come, and you noticed along the way that the company didn't seem to be thriving. The profit numbers were going down, but you weren't paying attention to that because you had been promised all these things and you had faith in the people around you. Then when 3 months came and they said, no, we can't afford to give you a raise. There's no promotion to go to. In fact, we're cutting staff back. And if you don't take a demotion, then we may actually have to let you go. Well, you could have been preparing for this moment in this situation, this work situation, by noticing the signs. So next time you're in that situation and you see the signs, you're going to know that you need to be cautious, that you need to come up with an action plan, a plan B, a way to keep yourself safe in the situation. It doesn't mean you have to leave the situation, and there's always ways to transmute situations, or usually there are. But it's always good to see things from a practical perspective and know what steps need to be taken for each contingency that you're noticing. Don't blind yourself. Don't let yourself be blinded. Don't let yourself not see the clues, because that will land you here. Next steps, go forward into every situation and notice. Keep your eyes open. Keep your head out of the sand.
These cards, they relate to our reading about the accomplishments of man paling in comparison to the accomplishments of a higher power. In that, if these are the actions of our humans, even in this seemingly mundane exchange amongst sneaky people or people of low integrity and victims of those people, we can still see that there's a higher lesson. And there are more than one higher lesson, actually. There's the lesson of having integrity and the effects that you have on other people, or having integrity but staying blind to the world around you. These are all higher lessons that will affect you in every aspect of life. And even more esoteric than that is the lesson of the Three of Swords, which is understanding the dual nature of your comfort, of your happiness, of your sadness, understanding that every sadness is actually a happiness, because without it you can't have the happiness, and every happiness is actually a sadness, because without happiness you wouldn't know sadness. They're the same coin, one turned on each side. So this is the higher lesson, that we're part of a scheme that's ruled by laws that are beyond our everyday. When you look at things from a philosophical perspective, actually you become less embroiled in the minutia of what's happening around you, and you can start to see everything from a very high height, that these birds can reach. You start to see everything from a bird's eye view. You start to understand simply the lessons that's in everything, in every situation, good or bad, scary or peaceful. No matter what's going on with you, you see it as information, as simply an interesting spectacle that you can look at from your mind. The swords are the mind. These are lessons of the mind. All of these are lessons of the mind. So if you can think about the situation you have in mind that we've been talking about today, think about it as a lesson of the mind. What can be learned from the situation? Not what can be learned like, oh yeah, I can't trust that guy. But say, I cannot trust that guy. So what does that mean about what can be trusted? What are the aspects of people that can be trusted? What can I look for in people or situations that will bring me the most peace? In this situation, I feel heartbroken. I feel a loss. I feel like something that has been put together has been broken apart. What can be the lesson in that? The lesson can be notice everything that you feel about this situation, so that when you can actually sit with this pain, and once you sit in it for a little while, like really feel everything about it, once you've really felt into it and not tried to avoid it, then you'll know how that feeling compares to different feelings within you, and you can actually set it aside within yourself. You can feel it, you know it, you accept it, you can bury it in the earth and receive all the feelings that are not that are already there within you, waiting to be felt. Feeling like this is a choice. I know it feels like it's being done to us, but we can choose to learn from the situation, and every time you learn from a situation from a higher perspective, it loses its grip, it loses its fire on you, it loses that ability to cause panic in you, because you see it objectively. The swords are seeing things objectively. The King of Swords sees everything the most objectively, and that's what you're trying to learn to do, is see these things objectively and learn the higher lesson. It's not about you, it's about the lesson to be learned. I hope that makes sense about the actions of man being less powerful than the actions of a higher power. It means learn the higher lessons in everything that you do and everything that happens to you. I hope you like this. I hope that it can bring something into your day. I hope that it brings you a little bit of joy to know that you're free from this conflict if you look at it from a higher perspective. So I'm wishing you the most joyful of days. And now a word from our sponsor. I support this channel with the sale of the beaded art I make in the style of the huichol of Mexico. It's a native style of mandala building that has become more of a commercial art form that makes these whimsical figures. All items here and more are available for sale in my Etsy shop, etsy.com/shop/EyeOfGodArt.